The absent mayor and the new commissioners. What does it tell us about urban governance in Rajkot and many other corporations? Rajkot was where Mahatma Gandhi spent 7 years of his school days in what was then the Alfred High School. Today, the Alfred High School is a museum which is dedicated to Mahatma Gandhi and the freedom struggle. Rajkot had also been the capital of Saurashtra in the interim period from 1948 to 1960. And then, of course, Saurashtra was merged into Gujarat. Friends, Rajkot has been in the news for the wrong reasons. 28 people lost their lives in a horrific fire accident that took place on 25th May last month. And it was so gruesome that the High Court of Gujarat took suo motu cognizance and castigated both the Rajkot Municipal Corporation and the state government. It said, did you fall asleep? Have you gone blind? Couldn't you see what is happening? And in its obiter dicta statements, it said that all municipal commissioners who were there ever since this TRP game zone where this accident took place came into existence, it said, why should all of them not be held responsible for this issue? The Chief Minister of Gujarat immediately went into action and he said, yes, we'll take full action. And of course, 9 people were suspended immediately. The municipal commissioner and the police commissioner were transferred. But the question is, who's responsible? Is it the CM? Is it the DM? Is it the police commissioner? Is it the municipal commissioner? Is it the revenue authorities? Is it the buildings department? The onus of ensuring that regulations are followed are quite diffused. And in fact, when 9 suspensions were made, subsequently there were arrests also, 4 departments were involved. While the municipal commissioner had suspended the town planners and the assistant town planners, the police commissioner suspended the inspector of that area and also the inspector in the licensing branch for not having exercised their mind, for not having applied their critical analysis before sanctioning this or before recommending this for licensing. The local fire officer, who, in spite of a fire incident having taken place on 23rd September last year, when some thermocol sheets had caught fire, he did not visit the spot, not carry out an inspection, but gave his report. And then there was the land and buildings department, the executive engineers, 2 executive engineers who had been asked to inspect the building to check its structural stability. They also did not carry out the responsibility, and they are under suspension and also have been arrested under 307, which is culpable homicide not amounting to murder. Now, this is as far as the fixation of responsibility is concerned. Let's also look at the very complex ownership structure of the TRP game zone. Now, the main accused and the co-owner, Prakash Chand Hiran or Prakash Chand Jain, he of course died in the accident. But there is a separate set of people who were investors into the TRP game zone. The people who were owning the land were the Jadejas, they were different. And the operator was yet another person who had a firm by the name of Race Enterprises Limited. Therefore, you have a complexity in terms of responsibility and a complexity in terms of ownership. And therefore, the whole thing is very diffused. Now, this is where we would like to bring another element into it. That is, there is no formal role for the mayor or for the ward commissioners into such fire accidents. Whereas the fact of the matter is that how is it possible that this structure could have come up in a ward without the ward commissioner being aware of this, and without the ward commissioner having exercised some influence over any of these four departments about whether to allow the structure to operate or to ensure that this structure does not operate and the rules of the land are followed. And the mayor figures nowhere into the picture. The Rajkot Municipal Corporation's website does mention and say that, look, the mayor is the political head of the corporation. But then, beyond that, it is silent. And the Rajkot Municipal Corporation is waxing eloquent about the great job which the Rajkot Corporation has done in setting up a Guinness Book of World Records in its cleanliness campaign. It talks about the various marathon runs that it has organized, about the social responsibilities that it has. But what is the point of doing all these non core functions if the core functions of the municipality, as laid down in its own website, which includes the element of fire safety, the element of proper sewerage, sanitation, health, and welfare of its citizens, if that is not taken care of, and the corporations are spending all their time on non core functions, then there are real issues and real questions that have to be raised. Why is it that mayors are not responsible for what happens in their area? Why is it that all powers are concentrated with the state governments? Now, one lazy argument is that, look, the IAS and the IPS officers don't want to work with the mayors, they would prefer to work with the state government. Let me say this is not true, because as far as the All India services are concerned, we quite understand that the All India services have to work with the political executive, whether that political executive is at the level of the Zilla Panchayat, or that political executive is the mayor, or that political executive is the minister for local government, or that political executive is the chief minister. This point is very clear that in a democracy, the political leadership must prevail. And therefore, if there is decentralized authority with the leadership because of the 73rd, 74th Amendment, it would be much clearer. Then the mayors would take the credit and the mayors would also take the brickbats. And that is what ought to happen. In fact, this Rajkot incident should make us all consider whether we should not go in for directly elected executive mayors. This is the point which Mr. Ramanath Cha, a former bureaucrat of Maharashtra, has given in his paper produced for the Observer Research Foundation. And he says that, look, all over the world, large cities are handled by mayors, and the municipal authorities, the fire authorities, the police authorities, the prosecution system, everything works under one font, and that font is the mayor. Because the mayor is the person who has a direct connect with the people, who would be able to understand how things are happening, why they're happening, because nothing wrong can also happen without the mayor and the ward commissioner knowing about it. But the situation as it stands today is that the mayors and the ward commissioners are powerful without being responsible, and the municipal commissioners and the police commissioners are responsible without having adequate political power or without having the power that is required to enforce their decisions. And when it becomes multiple departments which have to regulate affairs like this, then disasters like this may recur again and again. So I think this is an occasion for the Rajkot Municipal Corporation and all corporations in this country to introspect on how we have to prevent disasters of this nature. Perhaps the mayor of Rajkot may also like to consider what the Mahatma would have done if something like this had happened, if he was the mayor of Rajkot at that point of time. Let us therefore learn something from this major tragedy, because all tragedies of this nature should be learning points, should be the focus of critical discussion, not so much in the nature of a post mortem, but in the nature of what can be done in future to avoid such accidents. Thank you.